Welcome back to Miss Kern's Reading Corner. Today we're reading From the Stars in the Sky to the Fish in the Sea, written by Kai Cheng Thom, illustrated by Wyatt Lee and Kai Yung Ching. We're also reading Giraffes Can't Dance, written by Giles Andre and illustrated by Guy Parker Rees.
What at the bookstore?
We did get this book from the bookstore. Which book would you like to read first? Giraffes Can't Dance? Giraffes Can't Dance. Oh, I see a giraffe and a monkey. Oh, and look at all the stars in the sky. What's that? The moon. Gerald was a tall giraffe whose neck was long and slim. This is his neck. But his knees were awfully crooked and his legs were rather thin. A turtle. And there's two monkeys in the tree. Oh, and two ladybugs. And a butterfly. And a beetle. There's a beetle and a butterfly.
Where's the bee? Where's the bee, Mama?
The beetle? It's on the leaf. Ooh, the sun's setting. He was very good at standing still and munching shoots off trees. Oh, a grasshopper. But when he tried to run around, he buckled at the knees. Oh, what happened? His knees buckled and what happened?
Go down.
He fell down. Now, every year in Africa, they hold a jungle dance where every single animal turns to skip and prance. And this year, when the day arrived, poor Gerald felt so sad because when it came to dancing, he was really, really bad. The warthogs started waltzing, and rhinos rock and rolled. The lions danced the tango. That was elegant and bold.
Boom.
The chimps all did a cha-cha-cha with a very Latin feel, and 8 baboons then teamed up for a splendid Scottish reel. Everybody's dancing in groups. Gerald swallowed bravely as he walked toward the floor, but the lions saw him coming and they soon began to roar. Roar! Look at Gerald! He's so clumsy, the animals all sneered. Giraffes can't dance. You silly fool. Oh, Gerald, you're so weird. Oh, that wasn't kind. Gerald simply froze. He was rooted at the spot. They're right, he thought. I'm useless. Oh, I feel like such a clot. So he crept off the dance floor and he started walking home. He never felt so sad before. So sad and so alone. Oh, they could have taught him how to dance. They didn't have to laugh at him. Like in the Sandlot. Yeah, they could have taught him how to throw the ball. They didn't have to laugh at him. Then he found a little clearing and looked up at the sky. The moon can be so beautiful, he whispered with such a sigh. Excuse me, coughed a cricket, who'd seen Gerald earlier on. But sometimes when you're different, you just need a different song.
Oh.
Listen to the swaying grass and listen to the trees. To me, the sweetest music is those branches in the breeze. So imagine that lovely moon is playing just for you. Everything makes music if you really want it to. Well, this is like Daniel finds a poem. Remember when he talked to the cricket? With that, the cricket smiled and he picked up his violin. Then Gerald felt his body do the most amazing thing. His hooves started shuffling, making circles on the ground. His neck was gently swaying, and his tail was swishing round. He's dancing. He threw his legs out sideways and swung them everywhere. He did a backward somersault and leapt up in the air. Gerald felt so wonderful. His mouth was open wide. I am dancing. Yes, I'm dancing. I am dancing, Gerald cried. Oh, here's a bat and an elephant. Do you see them all looking up at him? He's higher than the owl.
Now, like that one.
The lion's looking up, the rhino's looking up. Then, one by one, each animal who'd been there at the dance arrived while Gerald boogied on and watched him quite entranced. They shouted, "It's a miracle! We must be in a dream. Gerald's the best dancer that we've ever seen." Well, they didn't give him a chance. They just laughed at him earlier. Now they're watching him. How did you learn to dance like that? Please, Gerald, tell us how. But Gerald simply turned and twirled around and finished with, "Wait, please tell us how." Wait, how did you learn to dance like that? Please, Gerald, tell us how. But Gerald simply twirled around and finished with a bow.
Oh.
Then he raised his head and looked up at the moon and stars above. "We can all dance," he said. He didn't eat the moon. Then he raised his head and looked above at the moon and stars above. "We all can dance," he said, "when we find music that we love." From the stars in the sky to the fish in the sea. Written by Kai Ching Thom, illustrated by Wyatt Lee and Kai Yung Ching.
Oh, like this.
This is Mulan.
Mom, was that about Thailand?
This is not about Thailand. This is a book from Canada. From the stars in the sky to the fish in the sea. Once upon a time, in a little blue house, on a hill on the edge of town, a baby was born. They were born when both the moon and the sun were in the sky, so the baby couldn't decide what to be. Boy or girl, bird or fish, cat or rabbit, tree or star. So the baby looked a little like everything. They looked very strange. All the same, the baby's mother gave her child a bath and rocked them in her arms. "Your name," she said, "is Moylan," and she sang a song that her own mother had sung to her long ago. "Whatever you dream of, I believe you can be. From the stars in the sky to the fish in the sea. You can crawl like a crab or with feathers fly high. And I'll always be here. I'll be near, standing by, and you'll know that I love you till the day that I die." And even though they still couldn't decide, the baby felt loved. Moylan grew up to be a strange, magical child who was always changing. They grew feathers and wings to fly with bluebirds in the morning, scales and a tail to swim with fish in the afternoons, and fur and paws to play with puppies in the evening. No matter how many things Moylan became, their mother always brought them back to the little blue house, gave them a bath, and tucked them into bed at the day's end. As the stars rose, she sang, "Whatever you dream of, I believe you can be. From the stars in the sky to the fish in the sea." And Moylan felt loved. Let me do the page.
Okay.
One day, it was time for the child to go to school. They were so excited. They grew a tail of peacock feathers and a coat of tiger stripes. Have fun, said Moylan's mother. But when they got to school, let's see what happened.
Okay.
So let's see what happened. The other students were either boys or girls. They had no feathers, no scales, no leaves, no fur, no fins, not even sparkles. No one invited Moylan to play. Someone ran up to the child and said, "What are you supposed to be?" And Moylan didn't know how to answer. When they came home, their mother asked them how they liked school. "It's okay," said Moylan. "Did you make any friends?" "Not really," said Moylan. That night, Moylan's mother tucked them into bed and sang, "You can crawl like a crab, or with feathers fly high. And I'll always be here. I'll be near, standing by, and you'll know that I love you till the day that I die." And Moylan felt loved, but also worried. What's up, Bubba?
Go guy.
I think it's going to rain. It seems a little cold.
Oh.
Can you flip the page? The next day, they wore a turtle shell and porcupine spines. No one pulled or poked at Moylan, but the other kids still pointed and whispered. "Did you make any friends today?" asked their mother. "Not really," said Moylan. That night, Moylan's mother tucked them into bed and sang, "Whatever you dream of, I believe you can be, from the stars in the sky to the fish in the sea." And Moylan felt loved, but they also felt sad
Why?
because they're trying to make friends at school, but no one wants to be their friend.
I
Mhm.
think that it could be the big one.
This is the baseball one. Mhm. Yeah. So it looks like Moylan showed up to school dressed like everybody else instead of dressed how they wanted to dress. And let's see what happens.
Okay.
The next day, Moylan wore no feathers, no scales, no leaves, no fur, no fins, no shells, and no spines, not even sparkles. Moylan was invited to play baseball with the boys. No one pointed, whispered, or laughed, or stared. But when Moylan joined in playing hopscotch, "Boys don't play hopscotch," said a little girl. "Well, boys can play hopscotch and girls can play hopscotch and anybody can play hopscotch."
Yeah.
"Yeah. Are you a boy or a girl anyway?" asked a little boy. "Didn't you have a shell the other day?" asked another person. "And didn't you have feathers the day before?" "What are you supposed to be?" said several children at once.
I don't know.
"I don't know," Moylan shouted and galloped out of the playground on horse's hooves and swam through. Can you move your fingers? I can't see.
Today.
And swam through the stream with a fish's tail and soared up on the hill with eagle wings. You're right, Moylan is crying.
Why?
"How was school?" asked Moylan's mother. We're going to find out now. "I wore feathers and stripes so that the other kids would think I was beautiful, but they thought I was weird." You know what? You can still be beautiful even if other people don't think. Like if you feel like if you feel happy with how you look, it shouldn't matter what other people think. "I wore feathers and stripes so that the other kids would think I was beautiful, but they thought I was weird. And then I wore a shell and spines so that no one would pull or poke me, but then they wouldn't talk to me. And then I try to be just like everyone else, but I haven't made any friends. I can't decide what to be. Why do I have to be just one thing?" "It isn't always easy to be different from everyone else," said their mother, "but you can only be who you are." "What if the other children don't like who I am?" sniffled Mulan. But you know what, Bubba? Because Mulan is saying, what if the other children don't like who I am? That's okay if they don't like who you are.
No, don't play with me.
I would love to play with you. I would love to play with you. Their mother smiled sadly. I don't know, she admitted, but I do know this. Whatever you dream of, I believe you can be. From the stars in the sky to the fish in the sea. And Mulan felt loved. That night, they slept a deep sleep. The next day, Mulan wore fur and feathers and scales and leaves and many sparkles that glittered like stars. For a moment, none of the other children spoke. Then a little girl said, "You can fly? That's so cool." "I like your sparkles," said a little boy. "I'm sorry I pulled your feathers," said the boy with the red hair. "I was a little jealous of them." Moilan asked, "Does anyone want to play with me?" Whoa. So Moilan was at school for a couple of days and was waiting for other kids to talk to them. But then when Moilan said, "Does anyone want to play with me?" they showed the other children how to gallop like horses, climb like monkeys, and swim like fish. It was fun to be so many different kinds of things. So once Moilan said, "Does anyone want to play with me?" then other people were like, "Yeah, I'll play with you." And then they started teaching each other different ways to play. And the child of fur, feathers, scales, and leaves and sparkles, who is neither boy nor girl, but many different things and always changing, felt happy. In the little blue house on the hill on the edge of town, Moilan's mother smiled and sang the song her mother had sung to her once upon a time. Whatever you dream of, I believe you can be. From the stars in the sky to the fish in the sea. You can crawl like a crab or with feathers fly high. And I'll always be near. I'll be here standing by. And you'll know that I love you till the day that I die. Whatever you dream of, I believe you can be. For you are my child, courageous and free. The end. Thanks for tuning in. They were born when both the moon, all the same, the brother's mother,